guys, Sam back with you here on Wednesday, September 12th here, and per the polling that we did on Twitter, next up we've got Cardano to the dollar. So I've got it here on Binance. This is to the dollar tether, right, which we're forced to do on Binance. But this is where the majority of the volume is. Boy, it's equally ugly, right, as with all of the alts. We got to pay attention to where zero is down here. All right, so I've got zero wicked off. Well, you know, I've sort of worked through this. I think this is the count that plays best here, and just to quickly give you some idea of how I came up with this. So if this is my 1, this is my 2. Well, here's my high probability zone. I get a bit through it here. Here's a tap, but that doesn't look like that's 4, 5. Looks like this is all that might be the 3, 4, 5 within this third. But because I'm coming close enough to this zone, I'm inclined to give this range right here. I'm looking for my third, so yeah, we get through it by a few ticks. But given the depth of the retracement there, I think that plays better as my 3, 4. So coming down, then of course we'd look for that. Is there anything technical there on my 4? So if I pull from my 2 to my 3, we're right into the Vegas wave to the 38 to the tick. Now we've come down through 2 and through target, but look where we are down here. Now we're at second target. Right, so did they stay short? It's impossible to know. That's possible, right? It's do we get a reaction here? We did not get much reaction here, right? In fact, here we cut right through it. So it's hard to know. And then we look here and think, okay, well, if that's a completed 5-wave structure, and this is all corrective, or we're thinking ABC. So swing high to that pivot where I can complete an impulsive structure here, then I get a very clean ABC, right? So it's just classic. Here's perfect Elliott. We trend in 5s, we correct in 3s, and then we start another 5 down, which sets up the possibility that what we've got here is just a giant ABC. Possible, right? We don't have anything that we're correcting over here. So this is not an ABC correcting an impulse, because this is where we hit the exchange here back in December. Or when was that? Pardon me, April, right? So, all right, so coming from that pivot high down here, so we're very shallow here for where you'd be anticipating a B. So it becomes a question of, what are they using, right? So we have to kind of hunt and peck and see when it could be that. Maybe, right? So why, right? Why would it be that pivot? Is it significant? Yeah, it's significant. This strikes me as more significant, but we've got to, but we get through. So we're a little sloppy here on this end. Did they stay short? Possibly. Here we come algo target to the tick. We get a small reaction. Maybe we're heading down to second target down here. We got to kind of dig through the count to see if we could be finishing down here. So it's very hard to know, right? Because we don't know until we see the reaction at a target. That's the only way we confirm what they use. Right now, we're just kind of stuck, right? Could this be the pivot? Well, that's where some Elliott can be helpful to us. This 5-way is pretty solid, right? So then in this 3, we have no way to argue with that. So you could perhaps argue about where we are in the count. That could be, you could make a case for this being 1, 2, and we're in the 3, but we're going to run, if that's going to complete in 5, we're going to run into 0 before that's the case. So I'm more inclined to think ABC, 3-wave structure. Well, if we can agree that if nothing else, we've got a clean impulsive structure into this, whether it's a 1 or an A, right? I propose that's an A. This 3-wave, we can't miss that. And then coming off of that A, so I'm going to go down to, let's go down to a 2-hour. So here's that B. Let me reset us here. So here's that B. 1, 2. Well, let's measure as we would with anything. We would take the length of this. This is our deepest retracement. So if that's my 2, well, I pull it over here just as before. I'm looking for that high probability zone. Well, yeah, could be 3, 4, 5, but it looks more to me like I go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 down here. That completes my 3. So yeah, I'm kind of in no man's land here. It becomes a question of if that's not the 2, where else would we find the 2? Right? There's no retracement until we get to here, but this looks much more like an ABC into a 4 given the length of the 3. So I'm inclined to go with this as my 3. I can get subdivision in here, and you can see the 1, 2, 3, 4 extension in the 5th to finish the 3rd. All right, so then we look here and we think, well, could that be the ABC correcting that 4? So don't really need that yet. So we'd pull from the 2, as we did before, to the 3 low. Shallow, right? It's a weak market, so we do get the 23, right? So any high probability zone between the 23 and the 38. So we clear here. Is this A? We'd have to have A, B, C into a B, into a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, into a C. Yeah, you can make that case. So if that's A, B, C, and then we've gone 1, 2, maybe that's 3, 4, and we're putting in the 5. Well, note here we've just ticked the algo target, but it's, are we forcing a fit there, right? So we're pulling from the 2 to the 3, 23. Could that be it? Yeah, it could be. Sure, yeah, it could be. We could go down even slow to a smaller time frame. Can we get a clean 5 out of this? Well, let's check it. Right, so this could be potentially. Now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe that's 5. Let me change that. Go. Well, we'll keep that degree here. So we'll take this one up 1. We'll go to micro for that. So does that fit? Could that be 1, 2, 3? Well, how does that 3 look? Well, it's the same thing, right? As before, we'll take the 1 to the 2. Well, we're getting, these are extreme, right? So here's the first high probability zone. We're getting well through that, but this ABC, most likely that sets us up for the 4. That's the deepest retracement. Again, here coming down here to finish, would that make sense relative to what's in there for this as a 2, if that's possible? Again, right in that zone between the 23 and the 38. First algo target, second algo target. So it could be that's 1, 2. Well, no, that'd be more likely 1, 2. This is an anomaly, right? Who knows what happened there? Yeah, it ain't pretty no matter how you slice it. So I wouldn't propose that we're buyers down here. It's just too soon. There's no need to do it, right? There's too much uncertainty about where we are. So what do we know? We've got an algo target that's being hit here, but it's not from a 50. It's from a 38. So it becomes a question mark, right? So how confident are you in that? Well, I would propose to you, again, you're trying to pick the falling knife there. So even if we pull out, let's go back out to a 2 hour and think about where we are in that count. Well, we're pulling from the 2 to the 3, taking an algo target here from this 23. It's not as precise. Is there anything else? Anything else I can find? Well, there's the 50, but we're to and through. So where's the second target? All right, we're down below us here. Could it be going that far? Yeah, sure. Yeah, no reason. Nothing says we have to stop here. It's just a process of trying to identify what they used, but we don't know until we see a reaction at one of these targets. So the fact that we just slice right through that makes me think, maybe not. Maybe this one, right? Little reaction here, right? So we get golden zone here. Again, we're trying to figure out. Well, we think with our Elliott hats on. Well, then the other thing we could do, we could say, all right, well, let's take the length of the start of the 1 through the 3 to the 4. Anything there, 618 would be a target. We're not there. Well, how about we take the length of the 1 projected from the 4? Well, 100 would be the next target. A little reaction there, but we're to and through. 127, next target. There's really nothing there to hang our hat on. Yeah, so it becomes a question of then thinking, well, so without anything perfectly technical there, other than I can get a count that fits here. Well, why, right? So why try and pick the falling knife, right? As I will often suggest, why not wait for a motive wave, right? Let's get the first motive, take the ABC, and then we're looking for that. That's just it's more conservative, right? You're not going to get the absolute. You're not going to be able to tweet that hey, look, I picked the low, but who cares, right? So if we're going back up, right, we know this is a strong project, right? So what are the odds of this going to 0? Anything's possible, right? So again, why try and pick the turn? There's just no need to do it, right? You don't need to be a hero down here. Let's get a 5-wave structure. Let's get something that's 5 waves that suggests, okay, well, now I have a candidate, right? So at least I have a motive wave coming off of that low, which would set me up for a potential buy here with a clear exit, right? We know where to put the stop under the pivot. So we take anywhere from the 50 to the 618. We look, well, all right, so it would look like this. So we'd pull here, All right, so maybe we catch the 618 and then we get a push up for potentially a third. So we get 1, 2, 3. Now, you know, game on. Now we have something to work with. Right now, it's just where's the low? Where's the low? Where's the low? Where's zero? Right? What, you know what? Just no reason to try and pick the turn. Just no reason. It's just way too much risk, right? There's just no sign necessarily of Bitcoin absolutely turning and ripping. When that happens, that will likely pull the stronger projects like Cardano with it. But right now, there's just the only thing we can hang our hat on is this, right? So is this enough? Is that enough for you? Well, it's not. So if that does make the turn, right? Oh, great. Okay. Well, we know why. Now, at least we know why, right? So yes, it's a shallow target, but we get our negative 23. Do we come off of it in 5? Right. So you think, well, shit, I don't want to miss any. Well, at some point here, there's going to be a 2. If we're going to bottom here, there will be a retrace for those heroes down here that caught the turn. Right? They will start to take profit. That's what will create the 2. And then the bears they're always pushing for a break of the low. That's what creates the 2. That's why they can go that deep. So if we're a buyer here, if we get something like this, you got this little zone here, nice risk reward. We know where to get out. Right? So you think, God damn, I want the turn though. What are the odds though of this happening, that we get something big? Right? What are the odds of that happening? I mean, shit, you know, anything's possible, but, you know, what are you worried about? That you're going to miss this move? Right? There's going to be, if for no other reason, that what will cause the 2 is people taking profit. So if there's buyers or algos or whatever causes the first push, you know, again, there will be a retrace, right? So even if it were shallow, again, why are you trying to force the turn here? There's just no need to do it. Wait for it, right? So patience is... it's a discipline you have to have, right? So again, unless you're a long term and you screw the technicals, I'm buying it because it's this low. I love this project. I know we've got strong people behind this. I'm willing to take the gamble that it's not going to 0. Well, shit, you know, then load up, right? Load up, right? You got me. Where are we sitting at? 0.06338. Well, you know, you got some distance to travel here, but the only idea would be you'd just be averaging in as it went down on the assumption that we're not going to 0. So you might spread that out and say, well, I'll buy a little here, I'll buy a little here, I'll buy a little here. Right, averaging in. If it turns, good for you. Right? I just wouldn't do it, right? So I can't advise you to do something that I wouldn't do. I wouldn't do that. I'll wait for that. Right? If it takes 3 months to get that. Again, what's the hurry? Right? But, you know, patience. Let it set up. I know we're all frustrated, and I know we want to see some signs of a turn here. You got to wait for it. Be my suggestion. All right, I don't know what else I can add there. There's just the only other thing that I did catch here, which, you know, maybe it's wishful thinking here. Let's go back out to a 4-hour just to give you something to hang your hat on. So we have this possibility here. So let me clean this up. Always looking, right? Puzzle pieces. Is there anything there I can hang my hat on that might support the idea that we're putting in a low there? Well, that caught my eye. So that's a modified shift from the pivot high low here. So just tagging the median line. Is that enough to trade on? Well, at least now we're trading off of more than just the algo target being hit. It's same. I'd tell you the same thing. Wait for the 1-2, right? No reason to try and nail the turn there. Yeah, you'll be able to you'll be a hero on Twitter. You'll be able to post that. I nailed the turn, right? Nobody cares. Nobody really cares, right? So if we move off of that and you get the 2, right, then at least you're not just rolling the dice down here, right? At least you've got some technical rationale behind it. That's what I see. So that's the only thing that I would add to that. That at least we've got some confluence here as we hit them. But you note here we didn't. Right, it wasn't perfect, right? So the fact that we're hitting it there, that's something to hang your hat on. We'll see what kind of reaction we get coming out of that. All right, guys, that's really all I can add there. All right, see you later.